Shall we begin?
So it begins.
And now it begins.
So it begins.
And so it begins.
Shall we begin?
It begins.
So, shall we begin?
So, it begins.
Shall I begin? Shall we begin? Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Good morning, everybody. How is your Wednesday going? All right. Today is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022, and we're back with FC Entertainment. What's up? I'm the Rookie Critic, and I've got some stuff that I want to talk about. I'm sure that everybody's obviously, like by now, if you're on the internet at all, then you've obviously seen like the LOTR, the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power trailer thing. You've seen the pictures going around. You've seen all the stuff that they're talking about. You've seen that stuff going around, and that's all well and good. And you know, I've commented on this on at least another channel or two probably by this point. And yeah, I mean, I haven't said too much honestly because I don't have that much lore knowledge of all this stuff. I've seen the movies, and that's my main context. I'm sure that I've read The Hobbit, but I have not delved deep into the books of Lord of the Rings or into any of the super stuff with that. So my impression is based mostly on the films, and I freaking love Lord of the Rings, of course. It's hard to meet people that don't necessarily enjoy that kind of stuff unless they prefer, you know, quicker pace things. Then I don't know why they would not like Lord of the Rings. But as a Lord of the Rings movie fan, especially, and you know, me wanting to be a filmmaker, I really do. Lord of the Rings is the type of level of filmmaking level that one can only dream to get to at some point in their life, which I feel like most directors for some reason don't really want to reach themselves. They tend to go with the more Marvel route, I guess, which Marvel does accomplish a lot too. I'm not saying that they're bad, but they are of a easier quality to obtain compared to Lord of the Rings. But anyway, the Lord of the Rings trailer came out, the teaser came out, and there's a lot of images going around. You know, there's the Black Dwarf princess queen chick, and you know, everybody's talking about how she's beardless and everything, dark of skin, when a lot of the characters weren't supposed to be, which, you know, I can understand that. And you know, because of like what Tolkien, the way that Tolkien wrote his world was very specific, and this is like more so compared to other types of things that come out where they design characters and make them like he wanted characters to look a specific way, creatures to be certain ways, so I can understand that. But my first impression when I saw some of these wasn't necessarily disdain. It just seemed mundane, I suppose is how I would put it. I wasn't completely off put on sight of seeing a lot of the stuff happening in there, but it did look mundane to me. Just the trailer, it seemed like uneventful. It was just some different clips of things happening. It was a minute long, which I guess it's what these type of teasers are supposed to be, just a little teaser showing a little glimpse. But it does nothing to get me hype. It does nothing to get me super invested with it. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know any of the characters there. Apparently, the woman that's in it, I'll pull up an image right here. I was able to get at least one little image before going live. This is supposed to be Galadriel, apparently, which I did not really see the resemblance to her. I mean, of course, it's a different actress playing as her, and a lot of people have an issue with her being dressed as like a warrior. She seems to be like in full-on battle mode. She's going to be a warrior, sword wielder, and Galadriel, based on what like Nerdrotics and other people have said, is that she's supposed to be more powerful. She's supposed to be one of the more powerful people in the realm on Middle Earth, essentially, but that she's supposed to be powerful in a different way, not necessarily like I'm going to beat you with my sword. It's like some type of a presence thing. There's a aura about her, which I don't fully know, but they portray that well in the Fellowship of the Ring. Like, you know, there's the talk of her, like, you know, you don't want to be deceived by her. People fall under her spell or something. Like, you know, her beauty is so gorgeous, and, you know, the people don't know what to do. And so she seems to have that kind of effect, and she can like get into people's minds, literally just, you know, kind of like Jedi mind trick. But I can just literally talk to you in the mind, or while I'm saying one thing to everybody, I'm talking directly to your head, saying something totally different. And So if like her character is not supposed to be a battle-hardened warrior of any kind, then I think that makes sense that that she probably shouldn't be. But if this actress was playing as a warrior character in another type of property, I swear, I would be fine with that because she does look badass. Like she does look badass. I just can't deny that. So even though her character may not be the type of one that she's supposed to be based on the lore and based on how she's established, I still think that this would at least look cool. And then, of course, there was the black elf character, which most of the elves are also supposed to be, fair of skin. I suppose they're supposed to be more light-footed. They're all one type of race, but even without even if they're not keeping true to how that's supposed to be in the lore and everything, if they're doing it their own way, I'm not saying that it's gonna be like it's possible that they could still somehow write these characters to be done well or have the story be done well. But I understand everybody's doubt because I also have that doubt because you look at most of these things that people make these days where it's a sequel or a prequel or some type of spin-off or a continuation or a reboot, you name it, the majority of them don't tend to be done very well. Cobra Kai is pretty much the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that does a continuation of an older story pretty well, keeping to the characters and what characters might actually do with their lives and keeping that well going good. But with Lord of the Rings, I don't know if they will. The Hobbit, according to some people, had a lot of things right in it, but they just, made it very long. They drug things out. They didn't really flesh out many of the characters, even though there it was like extended amount of time that you're with the characters. You still don't even remember half the dwarves. Like they didn't do that great of a job characterizing a lot of the things. They had a lot of practical effects in The Hobbit as well, but they had CGI layers over a lot of the practical stuff that it looked so fake. A lot of people thought that it's like too much CGI, and it's like, yeah, there's CGI in there, but there's also a whole bunch of real stuff, practical effects, but it still didn't look right. They would do things that make it just on the camera, it just doesn't seem to come out that well. But in this, based on the trailer, a lot of it does seem to be filmed pretty well. Though I do think there's a couple of shots, like when Gladriel's in the armor, she's climbing down the mountain or falling down the mountain or whatever, and she's like has a dagger and she catches herself on there. That looked like a cutscene from a video game. Honestly, like you could see that being a quick time event or something. It looked like something out of a video game, which they might still be working on post editing stuff for the first episode. The first episode of the show, I think, is supposed to be like 3 hours long, which that would sound cool if this was going to be, this might. I'm conflicted because a lot of people are expecting this to be awful. A lot of my peers are thinking it's going to be horrible too, and I understand. And based on Hollywood's trends, based on what a lot of people are trying to push, especially on the runway, the OneRing.net, it doesn't seem like they have the story to be the best intentions or the characters to be the best intentions. They want to push the like a ideology and a movement. So yeah, doubts are high and expectations are low for the show. But I guess I'm going to put it at a 1% chance that it could end up being good. Just a 1% chance because even though they did all these changes and all these things, it's not impossible for them to still make a good story out of it. But I think the main issue that a lot of people will still have is that it's not Tolkien's story. Like they're trying to hijack his work and his framework and everything, some of his characters, and then make their own type of story. They want to keep on reflecting the world as it is and put it into here. And that does rub people the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way too, to be honest. Especially if somebody took the time to carefully structure a world and all these characters and how they are and everything, then you would want to bring that to film in the best way that you can. But to just kind of go, now screw that. We want to do more of what we want to do with it is, that sucks because I'm not sure how often there's such a well crafted world. What's up, CJH? What's up, man? I'm probably talking about stuff that you've heard so much about over the last week or so, talking about the Lord of the Rings trailer, but I am giving a little bit different perspective. How I do think that there is a slight chance that the show could still be well done. But it does, even if it is good, even if somehow the show is good, like it will still have that sting of them not utilizing enough of what Tolkien has done. But then again, this is a trailer so far, and they have been quite snarky online. And I guess I have a theory that it's possible that they have made a show. Maybe what they've shown isn't all that they have. Of course, it's a teaser. It's 1 minute out of a 3 hour thing. I doubt that any of that stuff they show happens in episode 2 or 3 or anything. And it's like this would be the ultimate trolling if they somehow were like, okay, we're showing all this stuff, all these events, all these things in the trailer about the show, but then they just do like I don't know, like a 180 or a turnaround where they have so much of Tolkien's works and stories and elements applied into the show. Like if they were to actually do more of that than what they let on, like actually do a lot of his stories and keep a lot of his things accurate, that's I guess my question that I would be wondering about the show and for the people that know that much about Tolkien's lore. They've changed a few things, but if they've only changed 10% out of like all of the genre or like out of all the culture and all the stuff laid out by Tolkien, and the rest like still matches up well enough and it's still in continuity with either the movies or the books. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what type of continuity this is with this type of thing, because a lot of people, I usually consider if it's on film, then you follow the film consistency, and if they're books, you follow the book consistency for the books specifically. And they're separate from each other, the books and the movie being separate from each other, unless you're specifically going for an adaptation type of element, and that might be a little bit different. But I'm just talking about the quality of the story or the film itself in this type of case. But I don't know. So I'm pretty much just giving my initial thoughts here, just into the ether at the moment, because later today we're going to be on the Fandom Collective, and probably I'll flip with me and probably Black Angus as well, and maybe a couple other people on, and we'll talk about this a little bit more and talk about the other trailers that have been released lately, not just from the Super Bowl, but like honestly, the Doctor Strange 2. A lot of people seem to be sort of excited for it, and like Patrick Stewart makes a little appearance in the trailer, and I couldn't really give more of a shit. Like honestly, anything from Marvel it can be fine. I'm not saying that it'll be bad, but like No Way Home surprised me in how well it was. But even though that one was sort of well done, there's still a lot of stuff that's awful with it. Like I thought No Way Home had a lot of great stuff, but it also has a lot of crap. So it's like a 5 out of 10 for me in terms of there's so much crap and there's so much good that it's just halfway in between. It's 50-50. It's, you got to put up with the crap to get to the good stuff, essentially, in No Way Home. And Doctor Strange in No Way Home seemed to be quite out of character, honestly. And I don't know. I just don't really see them being able to do that good of a Doctor Strange sequel and Multiverse of Madness and all this crazy stuff. So I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it'll hit the right beats. But if Patrick Stewart and the X-Men are there, or Deadpool and whatever, I heard that Tobey Maguire might pop in to that film. It's like, oh, more cameos. Ugh, like I don't care. Like they can fuse all the universes together. They can do whatever. It just I don't know if I care about these huge stories anymore, because they're so like world-ending threats all the time. And I wouldn't mind having a story. I thought that's what the Spider-Man stories were supposed to be, where it's just you're just trying to do your job, you're just trying to go to school, you're just trying to do your day, but then there's some obstacles in the way. Can we just see something like that with a superhero film one of these days? That'd be nice. Just a simplistic little story where they do some of that stuff. But I don't know. I think that's pretty much my thoughts for the day. I've pretty much stopped talking about LOTR for the moment. I'll be talking more about that later tonight on the Fandom Collective. I'll be joined with my peers. And yeah, I guess with that, I'll see you guys later, and have a great one.